so much. Thank you so much. It is an honor to get to the podium immediately after the 100th president of the Rotary Club of McMinnville. I want to return the compliment to D.M. Simpson, and at the same time recognize our incoming president, Ben Myers, who will be number 101. Gentlemen, accept the applause and appreciation of Rotary. For their guests, a 7-course dinner was served. Just a little tidbit of the news from that time, 1922. Things were going on in our community, still happening in our community. A great place to live, to work, and to be with fine Rotarians like yourselves. So I appreciate your kind attention. We're going to go now to one of the most important parts of our annual business, and that is the installation of our new officers and directors.
Grace Family Pharmacy announces new medication packaging service. It provides a simpler, safer medication experience through convenient, personalized packaging using the latest in pharmacy robotics. We're located at 357 West Main Street. Our phone number is 931-473-6418.
McMinnville, you're a great place to be. McMinnville, Tennessee.
Not many things last a lifetime, but when they do, there's something special. Dr. Pepper. Good for life, good for the community.
The MyUsage app is a way to conveniently pay online, anytime, day or night. You can also come by any Caney Fork Electric office and sign up for the prepay option available using the MyUsage app. Know exactly how much electricity is used each day and the cost. Best of all, no monthly bill. You can set up email or text alerts, keep track of your usage, and pay your bill, all with the MyUsage app from Caney Fork. Caney Fork Electric, keeping you informed.
Welcome to another edition of Community Insider. Join us as we travel Middle Tennessee, uncovering history and experiencing the adventure of unique stories and events coming to you inside your community.
With that combination, you can't go wrong. So, gentlemen, a great performance. Somebody else who did just a spectacular amount of work and did it very expertly with consummate grace and skill is Haley Adams in making all the arrangements. I hope she had some help in doing all of this, but when I saw the balloon arch kind of welcoming us to this 100th anniversary centennial, I thought, you know, what a special touch. And it makes you feel not just welcomed here, but it makes you feel like a part of something important. So Haley, if you don't know Haley, back here, just say hi. Thank you so much, Haley. We also have Bethany Porter with us from the Southern Standard, but she's hiding out over here getting some pictures. Hey, Bethany, always good to see you. Appreciate your being with us at Noon Rotary. And Jonathan Womack of Community Insider fame. Jonathan is one of those amazing community activists and supporters up at the Lucky Community Center and really all over Warren County. An arborist, a videographer, a person of multiple talents. So we're so happy to have him here. He's here to document this occasion. You know, you only have your 100th once. You can't repeat it. So for the sake of the historical record, we wanted to make sure we had it captured on video and audio, and Bethany will be doing that for us in the Southern Standard. I'd like to say we happen to have the publisher of the Southern Standard with us this evening, and I'm especially honored to have her, my wife Patricia. And I have seen newspapers from a lot of different places, including some of the big, huge metropolitan dailies, some of the community publications, and I've got to say, Warren County is fortunate to have the Southern Standard serving our community for over 100 years, and you know, they keep public service and keeping the public informed as their foremost mission. They do that with skill and accuracy, and we certainly appreciate them and appreciate their coverage of Rotary activities. As Rotarians, you are members of a worldwide organization. It was the first international civic club, started in Chicago. Paul Harris, Chicago attorney, started with two other friends, business and professional people, from very humble beginnings. It didn't take long for this idea to spread out. The second club was in San Francisco, and then it took off like wildfire. And I think the reason for that is because of the mission of Rotary from the very beginning. They hadn't adopted that slogan at that time. That came along soon, and it's service above self. And what Paul Harris said about, among many things, was this. And I want you to think about it because as Rotarians, you're known in the community, the club is known in the community, but what do people think about Rotary? And this is what Paul Harris, the founder, said. Whatever Rotary means to us, to the world, it will be known by the results it achieves. And so you look back on the dozens, scores of projects, community civic projects that this club has been involved in right here in Warren County over 100 years, and the support that we've given to civic and humanitarian efforts, not least of which is Polio Plus, all around the world. When I first started in Rotary, I think one of the international projects was digging water wells in Haiti, the most deeply impoverished country in the Western Hemisphere. And I thought, you know, this group of business and professional and industrial and financial people in McMinnville, Tennessee, are making an investment in a part of the world they will probably never see. They'll never visit. And the people who are the recipients of those benefits, getting fresh, clean, healthful water, they won't know any of us. But the fact is, this club was doing good. It was making an investment in humanity. Rotary started with the vision of one man. As I mentioned, Paul Harris, the Chicago attorney, formed the Rotary Club of Chicago on 23 February 1905 so that professionals with diverse backgrounds could exchange ideas and form meaningful, lifelong friendships. Over time, Rotary's reach and vision gradually extended to humanitarian service. Members have a long track record of addressing challenges in their communities and around the world. The commitment that Paul Harris and the initial founders made endures today through an organization that remains truly international. Only 16 years after being founded, Rotary had clubs on 6 continents. Our members now span the globe, working to solve some of the world's most challenging problems. We as Rotarians are not afraid to dream big and set bold goals. We began our fight against polio in 1979 with a project to immunize 6 million children in the Philippines. Today, polio remains endemic in only 2 countries, down from 125 in 1988. We're making progress. It hasn't been easy. The charter president of this club was Thomas F. Burrows, a prominent local insurance person. And when he and a group of friends, mainly around Courthouse Square and here on this very main street, got together, they just weren't real sure how that was going to work out. It was just 17 years after Paul Harris and his friends started the Rotary Club of Chicago, but the idea caught on. I'm reading from an essay in a 2005 special edition of the Southern Standard. And it goes like this: as charter president, Thomas F. Burroughs described the job wasn't easy when it came to enlisting sufficient number of members. Quoting, "When we endeavored to dig up some members, we were confronted by the fact that all these men were accustomed to going home every day for lunch, and they could not envision the idea of having lunch downtown once a week and paying good money for it, when they could have lunch at home for free," end quote. Burroughs wrote that in an article that appeared in a 1971 Southern Standard. The original meetings were held at the Sudbury Hotel, where Miss Irby Sudbury served as the host. However, the Rotary Club members were soon kicked out of the hotel because they were described by Miss Irby as tightwads and they ate too much. Jimmy Haley, the county's official historian by appointment from the Warren County Commission, could probably tell you lots of stories about the Sudbury sisters. And from what I understand, the Rotarians didn't much like the Sudburys either. So the feeling was pretty much mutual. They moved over to the Colonial Inn. I have no idea where that was. And then the Brown Hotel that was up here on East Main Street on the north side. That building is long gone. But they didn't stay in one place long, but they finally wound up at First Presbyterian Church. The Ladies Guild came to them and basically said, we kind of understand that you're a little bit itinerant and you're moving from place to place, so I wonder if you'd give us a try, and we'll try to serve you some good Southern cuisine at every meeting. And they did. And the Rotary Club of McMinnville, except for a 2-year hiatus because of the COVID pandemic, over the past couple of years, has been meeting in the same place longer than any other Rotary Club in the universe. So I'd say the Presbyterian ladies are doing a pretty good job. And that is what we call our ancestral home, and so much history in that club. 5 of the original 14 members went on to head the club as president. In addition to Burroughs, they were Sims Reed, R.L. Maloney, John L. Colville, and C.D. Walden. Their roles in club affairs and their involvement in business and community enterprises were well known at the time. These were truly the leading members of our community. The remaining members of the charter group were D. English Clark, George W. Comer, James E. Etheridge, Frank Howard, Victor E. Simons, Cato C. Taylor, James G. Turbin, William V. Whitson Jr., known to some of us old ones as Billy Whitson, and Charles R. Womack. All of them people of accomplishment in various capacities and in different ways. You know, I think I've mentioned this to you before, but one of the greatest scientists and intellects and mathematicians of all times was Sir Isaac Newton. Back in the 17th century, wrote what could be argued as the second most influential book in the world when he described the mathematical principles of physics, including gravity. Close to the end of his long and very productive career, someone asked him, sir, how did you accomplish so much in your lifetime? It's just amazing what you were able to do. And he said, with, I think, amazing humility, he said, I was standing on the shoulders of giants. And he looked back in the preceding centuries and said how much I am indebted to those other scientists and mathematicians who came before me, and he gave them the credit. I'm going to ask you to take 10 seconds of time as we kind of bow our heads and have a moment of silence in memory of the McMinnville Rotarians who went before us. We're not going to try to name them, but I'd like for us to take just a solemn 10 seconds in silence and just think about how time flies. Each second would represent 10 years, a decade in the history of the Rotary Club. So I'm going to ask you now to join with me in a moment of reverence and thankfulness for those who went before us. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking 10 seconds to silently thank those who formed the foundation of this club. We're going to be looking forward to another 100 years. Richard Manning and I, we were trying to kind of calculate, how far will we get into the next 100 years? I don't know. But I think that it reminds us all that we need to be thinking about recruiting, about looking for quality members, and you know what it takes to be a Rotarian. You start as a Rotarian with something in your heart and your soul to give back to your community and the world. So let's all be thinking about that, and as Ben Myers comes on as the 101st president of McMinnville Noon Rotary, let's help him in one of the most important agenda items we have, and that's recruiting those who are going to carry on this work. I think all of us would be saddened to think that this would be the last big anniversary celebration for McMinnville Rotary. Maybe Haley will be around years from now, and she can kind of encore this great thing that's happened here. I'm not going to do a history of Rotary per se. Jimmy Haley, Mayor Haley, is going to do that for us at one of our future noon meetings, but we wanted to give him ample time to collect his research and get his thoughts together on that, and he's going to bring us a program. The 2022 is our centennial year until December 31st, and we want to celebrate it every chance we have. But let's take a look just very briefly at some things that were going on in the charter year of McMinnville Rotary 2022. I tried to go back and look at some old newspaper clippings, and the archives go back, I think Patricia showed me today, to the 1930s. The archives at the Standard office, and even when you got in the 1930s, they got a little spotty and there's some big gaps in the record. Fortunately, the Tennessee State Library and Archives has what they call the Tennessee Electronic Library. And by a special arrangement with the Tennessee newspaper, Gannett, the big publishing giant Gannett, they have been able to digitize a lot of those newspapers. And believe it or not, in 1922, the Tennessean covered all of Tennessee. Very much unlike what they've done for the last 25 years when they kind of collapsed into their little bubble in Nashville and basically Williamson County, and they think that's the whole universe. They just don't cover the state like they used to. But back in the old days, they covered everything. Kind of like the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, it covers Dixie like the dew, and that's what they did. I want to read to you an item I pulled out of the December 31st, 1922 Nashville Tennessean, a dispatch from McMinnville. The big news then wasn't fine new buildings being built or candidates being elected to high office or completion of the railroad, anything like that. It was what was going on in society. And I think, Patricia, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what you used to call personal notes or the society columns. This is interesting. Okay, here's the big news out of McMinnville, December 31, 1922. Thomas Edward Talaferro and Miss Susie Carly Moffitt were married Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock at the home of the bride's parents, Mr. and Mrs. H.M. Moffitt. The maid of honor and best man, Miss Hootie Jane Wooten and Lyndon Reams, led the bridal party to the altar. A little misspelling of altar, but I think we know what they're talking about. Now here's the part you'll like. Immediately after the ceremony, the bridal party and immediate family were entertained at dinner by Mrs. V.E. Simone, sister of the groom. The Rotary Club gave a banquet Tuesday evening in the parlors of Main Street Presbyterian Church. But the Rotary Club was active, and it was on record in 1922. The wives and young lady friends of the Rotarians were their guests. A 7-course dinner was served. Just a little tidbit of the news from that time, 1922. Things were going on in our community, still happening in our community. A great place to live, to work, and to be with fine Rotarians like yourselves. So I appreciate your kind attention. We're going to go now to one of the most important parts of our annual business, and that is the installation of our new officers and directors. And I believe we're going to have video. Thank you so much. I told Haley that I could remember 3 things, and obviously I could remember only 2. So that didn't work out too well. Thank you, Kelly. And thanks to Kelly. Kelly's one of those amazing people who can do just about anything with technology, and I appreciate that. He always does a great job in helping our visiting speakers with their PowerPoint shows. But the international president of Rotary, who will be retiring like all Rotary presidents at the end of this month, couldn't be with us, as you could imagine. He has travel obligations all over the planet. He couldn't be with us, but he did send a video, about a 3-minute video, and I think he wants to share the message of the strength of Rotary, the challenges that Rotary has overcome, and the opportunities we have in the future. So, Kelly, if you're ready, press the start button. And right after that, President Simpson is going to preside over the installation.
All right, it's getting to that point of the night where we get to do the officer installation. Before we do that, I had a few individuals that I wanted to give a special thank you to. Of course, I've already mentioned Bill and the great job that he does, and we've mentioned Haley, and really do appreciate you getting this together tonight. But also, I'd like to give a big thank you to Matt Hash for making the behind-the-scenes operation of the club run so smoothly. You don't even have to ask him to do it, he just does it. So, thank you, Matt. And also, Bill mentioned Kelly, and we appreciate him. And he helps Matt a lot as well, but he keeps the big screen rolling. So I'm glad he does that. Thank you, Kelly. And a couple of guys that aren't here tonight that really made it easier for me as far as getting things off to a good start at each meeting. Bob Case, I relied on him significantly to do the invocation, not exclusively, but almost exclusively, and I really appreciate him doing that. And also Wally Bigby, he was always good to be up and help lead the singing. So I want to mention those guys too. All right, so as I call your name as officer director, I would ask for you to come up here and stand by me right in here in a row. Ben Myers, he'll be our president. President-elect Michael Barnes. Vice President Rick Webb. Secretary Haley Adams. Treasurer Andy Knowles. Sergeant at Arms Matt Hash. Director of Club Administration and Director of Public Relations Bill Zetman. Director of Service Projects Richard Manning. Director of Membership Rick Stacy. Director of Rotary Foundation Mike Roberts. Director of Technology Kelly Bassham. And the Director of the Community Fund Lynn Cole.
And past president.
Thank you.
David Mason Simpson.
Most coveted job in Rotary. Thank you very much.
If I can do it, I'll push it through.
You can do it, buddy.
There you go.
All right. So, I've got a little something to read off here. And then I'm going to ask you guys a question. And just in case you didn't know, the answer to the question is, I will. Okay? To the incoming officers and directors, you have been elected to the important positions in the administration of the Rotary Club of McMinnville. This is an indication of our esteem and confidence in all of you. We also believe you will uphold the high traditions of our club, that you will give the best of your executive ability to the furtherance of the interest of our club and the carrying forward of the object of Rotary. Will you fulfill the responsibilities of your offices to the best of your ability and in accordance with the constitutional documents of this club?
I will.
I'm sure that you will. This is a ceremonial gavel.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Mr. Myers. Did you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, I do.
All right, come on down.
I'll wait to pin, give you all the pins in a moment. I'll stick them individually. But I was recently, or I guess another person we need to recognize is Mike Netherton, who is the guy behind the scenes and pushing people to grow beyond what they want to be in Rotary. Like, I don't have time for this. I know you can do it. You can do it. And so that's been Mike over the last, how many years? Few years. He's filling the shoes, to give people the encouragement they need to step up and to serve. And so when I was at a recent district meeting that he told me I needed to go to, I needed to make those meetings. I need to get out there. And there's a lot of excited Rotary folks around our whole area. And when you get there, when you're trying to go there, you're thinking, oh, I don't have time for this. I got other things to do. But when you get there, you realize that you engage within all the folks in our whole area, and you realize these connections in Crossville and Marion County and our whole district in Knoxville. I mean, it's a huge district, and you realize you have connections between all of those people. And so the question was asked to me, what does a Rotary do for your town? And so another lady from Jamestown she answered, she's like, we're the only civic club in our town. And I was like, oh, okay, that's surprising, the only civic club. And she's like, we lead all the civic events. And then when the question came around to me, in terms of McMinnville, what does a Rotary do for McMinnville? And my answer was, it connects those civic clubs that we have. I was like, we have an untold number of civic clubs within McMinnville. And when you start to think about all the different clubs in our town, there's a lot. But what Rotary does is it connects those clubs together. And so what I would ask all of you to do, to help me and all of us together, to help all of us, is to continue to connect those clubs and provide that network. To do what Rotary initially tried to do was to connect and network and help me to help everybody else connect these clubs together so we can continue to grow and continue to do great projects. And so that's all I have. Good job. Do I ring the bell?
Sure. So yeah, after this, I think that's all we have for the night. So
okay.
You're welcome to stay.
The bar's still open?
Yeah, I would say you guys are welcome to stay. That's the end of our program for the night. You guys are welcome to stay and mingle for a little while if you want. Again, I wanted this to be about celebrating you all tonight because, again, we would not be where we are without you. So thank you.
All right.
All your local programs is home to you. Community Network Productions invites you to check out our website. That's Communitytvtn, all one word, .com. Also, we're on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel on your smart TV or any mobile device, or simply just Facebook and Instagram. We'd also like to hear from you with show ideas, or if you got a question about a show. Email us at communitytvtn@gmail.com.